All right. So in this video, I just want to kind of give a brief overview of what I'm seeing in the industry and like basically reading about, seeing firsthand. And I'm trying to figure out what is going to be the solution going forward. So in the past, in the videos in the past, I've talked about how obviously the programming profession has changed. Unfortunately, that is a reality. Like AI is writing code faster than any one person could ever write. When you have teams of people doing that, there's so much code moving so quickly, it's impossible to understand all of it. You now have companies that are actually basically encouraging, obviously, AI usage. Everybody should use AI, use it as much as possible. And then they were ranking people. And if you wanted to be high on that chart of AI usage, and then eventually it got to the point where it was like, okay, well, that's too much AI because the price tag is too large for that. So companies started scaling back on that. The sad thing there is obviously that they're going to, what we've seen is that companies are reducing their workforce in the name of AI, and then just getting the stronger developers to use that AI and basically supplement the price tag for AI with just simply reducing salaries. There is just walls upon walls of text that I'm seeing every single day. We got developers that are using AI from everything from idea to implementation, AI that's just generating bugs, hooks from like Jira that are automatically linking out to an agent orchestrator to handle the bug. And basically, the user stories themselves are all AI generated text. All the Confluence docs are AI generated. These days, emails and IMs that you're getting from people that you work with are also AI generated. Every GitHub comment. So what a mess. The thing that I've been trying to discover myself, I've been, in this, I feel like since agentic AI started blowing up, not this summer, but the last summer. Um, and and I know people have commented on this channel as well. Like, AI is great at building, boilerplate. It's great at starting up projects, CRUD applications. And the thing that it's not great at though is is like when you want to push that envelope, you want to do something that nobody's ever done before. You want to create something that is truly awesome and spectacular. You do still see that AI is sort of struggling to get over that finish line, but the bottleneck is that it's the developer's lack of understanding as to what these agents are doing. So earlier this year, I created an agent harness system where I could get all the different anti gravity and Codex and Claude and all those guys to work together. And then not just that, but also have a defined list of agents, and each one having their own role and wearing a different hat so that they could have, bring a different set of expertise to the conversation. Sam Altman recently in an interview said basically we're already in the singularity, and a lot of people were making fun of him and things for saying that. And I'm not saying that we're in that, but I am saying that from a programming perspective and what I'm actually seeing in the wild, and then just my own personal development, is that we are certainly at a point where if you're getting AI to write a lot of your code, you're definitely getting to a point where you don't actually understand what that code is doing, assuming you're doing anything of any complexity or something that you're not familiar with and haven't done that before. So as an example, like something like, like 3D modeling or automatic rigging animations using local inference, running different models. There's a lot of things that people are trying to build, I guess, that haven't been done before, personally speaking. Um, and when you got AI that's just pounding out code all day long, there's just simply no way you're going to keep up with that. So from a corporate perspective, we are now being judged by AI. AI is looking at all the metrics of how much code you're writing. It's now very easy to be able to figure out like not just how many lines, but how many PRs, and how many of those files changed after that PR was committed, how many bugs were created. We're starting to be judged and ranked on all of that stuff, and AI has made it easier than ever to be able to do that. You either have the choice of having AI run wild and try to build something that you don't truly understand in order to keep up, to keep on this endless treadmill of creation and productivity that we're all seeking, or at least all the companies are seeking, or you fall behind. So their argument, I think, from a lot of established programmers is AI writes sloppy code. It does stuff incorrectly all the time. There's danger in not understanding what it's doing. But all that said, we don't have time to do that. So we don't have time to figure out every little nook and cranny of what the code is doing. Um, and that will rub some people the wrong way. But the fact of the matter is that most companies probably don't care about perfect code. So um, I'm not really sure like how we keep up with this endless treadmill, but I do know that it's causing this cognitive overload, this AI burnout, AI brain fry, whatever it is. We are just inundated with walls of AI text, and then you go online, and it's just endless amounts of garbage on just AI generated content, or even on YouTube, for instance. Like everybody's talking about pretty much the same thing. Um, Nobody really has, I think, any solutions for actually the human in the loop problem of keeping up with the speed of AI, and therefore, the singularity is somewhat, you could argue, here already when it comes to a coding perspective, because simply put, agents are writing code faster than you can possibly keep up. This was always the case. Like the human in the loop bottleneck of understanding code was always the problem with coding. Basically, throughout my career, I started on new teams, and there were times that I worked on some really shitty legacy software, and I would join a team, and I would have absolutely no understanding of how any of it all tied together or worked. We didn't have AI tools back in those days. The IDEs were not nearly as good as they are now. But it was like, how do you solve this problem? It was a lot of like, reaching out to people. It was a lot of just eating the elephant one bite at a time, so to speak. And that's how we got by. But back in those days, it seemed like it was so much easier because you weren't expected to do 10 PRs in a week. I definitely have worked with people throughout my career where it was like, they worked on a unit test for like a week or whatever. Not every place is like that, but I've seen that, and I've seen also, really high performers. Not to like toot my own horn, or to claim that I'm great or anything like that, but I would basically say throughout my professional career, I always consider myself to be sort of in the top 25% of programmers when it comes to like basically creativity, figuring out, problem solving, and I guess basically just simply perseverance and productivity. So I've always sort of tried to keep in that range. And with AI, I feel like it's harder than ever. I mean, these days I'm a tech lead. I've been a tech lead for like many years now, I guess, almost 5 years. And I I still write code day to day, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm seeing mountains of AI generated code, and you either have the option of not understanding all of it, which we never did in the first place, or you fall behind by trying to understand every little bit. So, trying to figure out the important parts that we need to understand is really the bottleneck, I think, in this day and age. I've seen some tools that have come out recently. So I was reading something the other day where some guy tried to create a plugin, basically, where the plugin is creating an HTML file, and it's this like interactive documentation of uh, basically the history and the why. And really, in this particular case, it was the why versus like the existing understanding. So, in my opinion, that should be reversed. Like, you should always have like an understanding of what the existing system was, and then the why of the change, and specifically what those changes were. But um, it was all about basically then providing like this quiz to try to quiz yourself on uh, what it is that you're actually reviewing, to make sure you have a true understanding of that. Um, because going back in my career, I used to read a lot of programming books when I was getting started, and I just remember being able to like pull out that Perl book, and I'm looking at all this Perl code, and like there was this one book. It had like I think it had the llama on it, but it might have been the camel. I don't remember. But it was like a book with particular examples per page. So it was like, how do you open a file, or this or that. And I just remember being very young and naive, and reading through that stuff and just flipping through the pages like, oh, that makes sense. And as soon as like I went to try to apply that knowledge, it was all gone. So the bottleneck has always been true understanding, and to get around that, I've always just tried to build things because making mistakes and building things are typically the best way to learn that I've found, versus like books. And AI though is like taking this to a whole new level. There's just simply no way you can comprehend everything that's going on. So all that said, yeah, this is exhausting. I don't I guess, what we're gonna see is that as AI coding gets better and better, we're probably gonna need much better tooling in order to be able to understand what it is that we're creating. But I don't think that we're far away from like a singularity type situation where the AI is figuring out problems faster than you can possibly comprehend. And we're seeing that like even with like Codex just recently came out and said that like 10 novel math problems got solved by AI. And one of the very, I think, depressing things of all of this is that um, building something new and unique these days, like, is just like not that important anymore. Like, any idea can be picked off. If you used AI and agents to create some new sort of product, then somebody else is going to be able to do the same thing just as quickly. So it almost feels like trying to get ahead and stay ahead on this treadmill is just absolutely exhausting. And um, I guess an example of that, I saw this one person shared on LinkedIn. And I really hate LinkedIn, but it was this, some young kid, and he's like, "Yeah, my AI agent just committed the 1,000th PR, and it was over a weekend, right?" So this kid's like, my agents, this and that, like agents and harness systems are not unique anymore. Like everybody and their mother has created them. Everybody and their mother has their own unique agent workflow. Um, but when you got your agents doing 1,000 PRs in a weekend, you have no idea what the fuck is going on. There's no way. So that's to me nothing to brag about. That just means that you're an idiot in your basement, and you're building something that obviously you have no idea what it is. And anybody that also has a $200 cloud account is going to be able to just simply replicate and probably do it better than you can anyway. So at the end of the day, I do think that the creativity, the entrepreneurial drive, the problem solving, understanding, all of that stuff is still going to separate people in this programming field for some time to come. And I think that we definitely need better tooling to understand what it is that we're creating, especially for like juniors when they need to understand and learn from what they're doing. Because where it is right now, you get these PRs and you ask somebody why that change might have been done, and they have to refer to Claude to give some sort of blurb or write up, and there's just simply no understanding there. It seems like, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just simply the amount of content that's going on right now. But anyway, sorry. Thanks for listening to my rant. I do think on the positive side that we're gonna have better tooling and we'll figure out some of this stuff as we go forward. But from where we are right now, it seems like there's just it's impossible to keep up with everything that's going on.